Today, we're going to go over the most popular Rolex model ever produced. And I'm going to go over some quick facts you probably didn't know about the Rolex Submariner. So starting off with the Rolex Submariner 1680. This is the first Rolex Submariner ever to feature a date window. This watch has an acrylic crystal. It was produced from 1969 to 1979 and sells for about $11,000 all the way up to $15,000 plus, depending on the watch's condition, its patina, and if it has its box and papers. This is actually also the only Rolex Submariner that features a bi-directional rotatable bezel. All other Rolex Submariners have a unidirectional, only turns one way, and this one is bi-directional. So that's enough about the 1680. Next, we have the 16610 Rolex Submariner. This was the longest produced Rolex Submariner watch, produced from 1988 all the way up to 2010. This one has the 31-35 caliber movement. It has a sapphire crystal, unlike the acrylic here. And this watch has an aluminum bezel just like this, but once we start getting into the more recently produced Submariner models, these ones have the ceramic bezel. So this watch today goes for between $8,000 all the way up to $9,500, even $10,000, again, depending on the condition of the watch and if it has its box and papers. Next, we have the Rolex Submariner 116610. This watch also has the 31-35 caliber movement, just like the 16610. This watch was produced from 2010 all the way up to 2019. The biggest difference you can tell just by looking at it is this one has a ceramic bezel, this one has the aluminum bezel. Other differences are this model has about 3mm larger case size lugs. If you look at the two, the 16610 and the 1166610, you can see that the case lugs are a little bit larger. Another interesting fact about the 16610 is that all links, all center links on the watch are actually hollow links. Post 2000, Rolex started introducing solid end links on the watch, but on all Rolex Submariner 16610s, there's hollow center links. Prices for this model range from $11,000 to $12,000, depending if the watch has its box and papers or if it's watch only. Next, we have the most recently produced 126610 Rolex Submariner. That's this one here. This one is the only one in the Rolex Submariner lineup that's 41mm, so it's slightly larger on the case. The 126610 was produced from 2020 all the way up to present. It's still currently being produced in 2023, and we'll see how much longer it will be produced. This one is the only one in the Rolex Submariner lineup that's 41mm, so it's slightly larger on the case. The caliber on this is the 32-35. We also have the ceramic bezel. And something else about the newer watches is it has this little easy lock clasp on the back. So you can actually pop out a link just by simply going like that. It gives you about maybe 5mm. You also have the glide lock system here where you can expand your bracelet pretty easily. The 1166610 also has that. The 16610 does not. So prices for the 126610 range from $13,000 all the way up to $15,000, depending again if the watch has its box and papers, if it's a complete set, or if it's watch only. Also more recently, the 126610, Rolex started producing different colors. They got fun with it. So you'll see the Rolex Starbucks. This is also a 126610, but you just add an LV at the end of the reference number. This is a 126610 LN. This is the 126610 LV. Alright, so something else that's interesting about the 126610 is this watch was released from Rolex with 11 links. You guys hear me say all the time, Rolex watches come with 12 links. Well, on the 126610, they came out with 11 links and 2 half links, making it a total of 12 total links. Also, another way to spot the differences between the 1166610 and the 126610. If you look really closely on this dial, there's a small crown between Swiss made. The 116610 does not have that, and neither do any of the other Submariner models. So the little crown here is another way to tell. While filming this video, you're going to notice there's only 3 watches now. We actually sold the Rolex Submariner 1680 for $11,000 to a happy buyer in Houston, Texas. This watch had no box, no papers. $11,000 is a very fair price for a Rolex 1680 that had the patina that it did and in the condition that it was in. So guys, if you're liking this content so far, please subscribe below. We'd really appreciate it. Now let's get back to the differences between the Rolex Submariner watches. So another thing you'll notice with the 16610 versus the 116610 and the 126610 are both of these models, the newer models that we have here, have the serial number engraved on the inner ring. On the 16610 model that we have, it doesn't have the serial number engraved. However, this doesn't mean that Rolex Submariner 16610 models don't have the serial number engraved. Post 2005, around 2005, 2006, Rolex started engraving the serial number on the 16610 models. So before that, any 16610 won't have the serial number on it. Another thing that you can tell is, to tell the differences, would be there's holes on this case here. So you'd have to actually take these little pins off, remove the bracelet to get your model and serial numbers. While on the newer watches, you'll notice no holes on the 1166610, and on the 126610, no holes. That's constant through these two models. But on the 16610, that's not constant. Actually, around 1994 and 1995, Rolex began removing these holes here to make it a no holes model. So that we know that this model, the 16610, is a pre-1994 Rolex Submariner 16610. Lastly, the major difference with the 126610 is this one here has a 72-hour power reserve, and the 1166610 and the 16610 have a 48-hour power reserve. All right, so that concludes everything you need to know about the Rolex Submariner Date models, all the way from the 1680 to the current 126610. Thanks for watching, guys. I gotta get back to work as usual. Thanks again. Like, follow, share, subscribe. Do what you guys do. God bless you, and see you soon on WatchGuys.